I was in a serious car accident, but my wife, crying, told the doctors we didn't have the money and signed the papers to refuse treatment. But over the last 3 years, I'd worked myself to the bone, grinding away at my startup, and I'd given her $150,000 to save. Why? I asked her, the word tearing out of my throat with the last of my strength. She wiped a tear from the corner of her eye, leaned in close, and whispered with a sickening little smile, because I used all of it to buy a house for Leo, silly. The only way we can finally be together, really be together, is if you're dead. Leo, my best friend for years. The agony of a dual betrayal was the last thing I felt before I died. When I opened my eyes again, I was back on the day before my wedding. Ethan, you spacing out on us? My buddy Mason waved a half-inflated balloon in my face. I blinked, taking in the scene. My parents' living room, streamers half-taped to the walls, the scent of stale pizza in the air. This couldn't be right. Wasn't I dead? Mason cracked up at the look on my face. Check him out. Dude's not even married yet, and he's already checked out. Ha ha ha. His booming laugh echoed through the room, and a couple of other guys chimed in. Ethan, sweetie, Chloe's gonna be in heels all day tomorrow. Her feet will be killing her. I got her a pair of slippers to change into, my mom said, pulling me aside in the hallway. And I told the MC your dad, Ann, I don't want any of those awkward jokes about having kids right away. We don't want to make her uncomfortable. In that moment, everything else faded away. I threw my arms around her, my eyes instantly burning with tears. In my last life, Chloe never even told my parents I was gone. They didn't find out I was dead until after I'd been cremated, until I was nothing but a box of ashes. My dad had a heart attack and was rushed to the hospital. My mom's hair turned white overnight. Chloe took the settlement money from the driver who hit me and started a cozy life with Leo. She never once visited my dad before he passed away. When my mom, broken with grief, went to confront her, screaming that she was heartless, Chloe shoved her. My mom fell down a flight of stairs and broke her leg. She died not long after, they said, from a broken heart. Thinking of it, a white-hot rage filled my chest. Mom, don't worry about any of that, I said, struggling to keep my voice even. She won't wear slippers. She thinks they make her look short. And she won't eat anything after her makeup is done. She's afraid it'll smudge. I knew this because that's exactly what she'd complained about last time. She'd completely rejected our attempts to make her comfortable, shooting my mom a nasty look before turning on me. Have you ever seen a bride wear slippers at her own wedding? She'd hissed. I tried to explain it was just for when she was sitting down, to give her a break, but that only made her angrier. There will be cameras everywhere. Are you trying to make me look like a fool? I had to spend an hour calming her down, coaxing and flattering her just so she wouldn't make a scene in front of my parents. Oh, okay, well, if Chloe needs anything else, you just let me know, Mom said, her smile faltering. Hey, honey, what's wrong? Your eyes are all red. Are you crying? No. I lied, borrowing Mason's earlier joke. Just getting married. A little emotional. She chuckled, called me a silly kid, and bustled off to deal with some catering issue. I went back into the living room and pulled Mason out onto the back porch. I slumped down against the wall, lit a cigarette, and passed him one. Where's Leo? He took a deep drag, squatting next to me. No idea. I think he said his sister called and needed him for something. Leo's sister, Lily, was Chloe's maid of honor. Of course, in my last life, they must have been hooking up long before the end. What other reason would the best man have to run over to the bride's hotel the day before the wedding? I seriously doubted Chloe's family was short on help. Seeing the look on my face, Mason asked cautiously, Dude, what's up? I blew out a slow, deliberate smoke ring and turned to him. The only guys I could trust right now are you and Dylan. As I said it, my eyes started to burn again. After I died, they were the only ones who were destroyed. I saw it somehow. Leo had his arm around Chloe, laughing. You were better than me at everything, Ethan, he'd sneered in my memory. But who's got your wife now? The fury was so intense, I crushed the cigarette out with my bare fingers, the embers searing my skin. Whoa, Mason jumped. What the hell is going on? If I told you Leo and Chloe were screwing around behind my back, would you believe me? I asked, a bitter laugh escaping my lips. He shot to his feet. What? It's true, I said with a humorless smile. They're together. I don't have concrete proof right now, but I need your help. Mason didn't hesitate. Man, If you told me the sun was going to rise in the west tonight, I'd believe you, he said, already moving. I'm going to go get Dylan. A minute later, Dylan was on the porch, so pissed off he snapped a leaf off my mom's potted orchid. That son of a bitch. Those two goddamn snakes. Now, it all makes sense. Every time we went out for dinner, those two always had to use the bathroom at the same time. God knows what they were doing out there. I never even noticed. Holy crap. I remember now. Mason chimed in. At Leo's birthday party, the one where you guys got me totally wasted, I was slumped over the table, and I swear I saw them playing footsie or something under it. It's blurry, but I saw it. He paused. Ethan, did you touch Chloe's leg under the table that night? A cold dread washed over me. Why the hell would I need to be sneaky to touch my own girlfriend? That night, Chloe was sitting between me and Leo. That bastard, Dylan growled, balling his fists. He's been messing with your girl. I'm going to kill him. He started to storm off the porch. Mason and I grabbed him. Whoa, hold on. We don't have proof. We have to play it cool for now. I laid out the plan. We all agreed. Those two deserved the worst, most public humiliation we could devise. And luckily, everything was still reversible. Chloe's parents had, in their own twisted way, done me a huge favor. They'd advised her not to sign the marriage license until after the wedding. See how he treats you for a year or so first, they'd said. No marriage certificate. That made things a lot easier. Just like last time, Leo didn't come back to my parents' house that night. He stumbled in around 4 a.m., reeking of whiskey, claiming he was helping his sister and passed out after a few drinks. Now I knew that was a lie. He was with Chloe. I pulled out my phone and called her. Hey, honey, what's up? Her voice came through the speaker, dripping with that fake, cutesy tone I used to find so endearing. Now it just made me want to throw up. Fighting back the nausea, I laid it on thick. Hey, baby, just wondering how things are going over there. Do you need any help? No, it's fine, she said a little too quickly. It's tradition in my family for the bride and groom not to see each other before the wedding. You just stay put. Okay, we have plenty of people here. Love you. She hung up before I could reply. We started brainstorming. Her hometown, Miller's Creek, was only a 30-minute drive from the city. Chloe had insisted that getting married from a hick town was tacky, so I'd booked 2 suites at a 5-star hotel for her and her bridesmaids. But she didn't have that many friends. Besides her 2 bridesmaids, I couldn't think of anyone else who would be there. 2 suites seemed a little excessive, didn't it? Seeing my expression darken, Mason volunteered to go be our eyes and ears. It was the only way. After he left, my phone rang. It was Chloe's mom. Ethan, honey, there's been a little change of plans. I want to give you a heads up. I paused, then hit the speakerphone button. Dylan leaned in. Okay, go ahead. So, about those 2 buses you chartered, it's not going to be enough. We've got the whole town coming now, and a bunch of Chloe's grandmother's relatives too. You'll need to book another one, quick. Oh, and for tomorrow morning, we've got 12 people who are going to block the door for the bridesmaids. You'll need to have an envelope for each of them with $666. For good luck, it'll look great too. And you need to prepare a big envelope for the spiritual advisor who checked your compatibility and picked the wedding date. $10,000 to show our gratitude. I mean, if he hadn't given his blessing, we never would have let our precious daughter marry you. Beside me, Dylan silently mouthed, shameless. A plan began to form in my mind. They wanted to keep up appearances? Fine. Tomorrow, their entire family would lose face in the most spectacular way possible. I swallowed my rage and kept my voice smooth. Okay, Mom, I understand. Anything else? Yes. At the reception, you need to have your parents give Chloe a $10,000 welcome to the family gift on stage. We raised a treasure, and now she's going to be part of your family. You need to show her how much you value her. And that condo of yours. You need to add Chloe's name to the deed as soon as possible. And you need a notarized letter saying you're giving her half, willingly. Our Chloe can't take risks, Marrying you, bearing your children. That's a life or death gamble for a woman, I agreed to it all with a cold smile. As soon as I hung up, Dylan exploded. Are you kidding me? Does she know what a piece of work her daughter is? She has the nerve to demand more. Didn't you already give them $30,000 for the wedding costs? He was right. My parents had used their life savings for the down payment on my condo. The wedding expenses and the ring had already cost me a year's salary. I could afford her mom's new demands, my tech startup was doing well, and I had over $100,000 saved up. but half of that was for the wedding, and I wanted to give the rest to my parents for their retirement. The only reason Chloe's mom agreed to the marriage was because she saw me as a meal ticket. For the past 2 years, every time I visited, I brought thousands of dollars worth of gifts. All because Chloe's mom wanted to show up that widow Mrs. Peterson next door. Apparently, Mrs. Peterson's son-in-law always parked his BMW in front of their house. Whenever Chloe's mom asked him to move it, Mrs. Peterson would snipe about how some people are just jealous of things they can't afford. The feud was legendary in their small town. My expensive gifts had won her a lot of battles. Too bad all that social capital was about to go up in smoke. Knowing tomorrow's wedding was a sham, I felt a strange sense of calm. I even went back to my room and slept for a few hours. Around 9 o'clock, my phone buzzed me awake. It was Mason. "Ethan, check your messages." Now, I rubbed my eyes and opened WhatsApp. A jolt of adrenaline shot through me. Mason had sent a video. It was shaky, filmed from a distance in a dimly lit private room at a restaurant. Chloe was clinking glasses with Leo and his sister, Lily. "To my sister-in-law-to-be, Chloe. Happy last night of freedom." Lily said. They all drank. Leo's eyes were red, and he looked miserable. Lily sighed dramatically. "Look, bro, what's past is past. If it wasn't for Ethan, you and Chloe never would have even seen each other again. It's just fate, I guess." Chloe seemed to drift off for a moment. "Yeah," she sighed. "Who would have thought my high school boyfriend would end up being my fiancé's best friend?" Hearing that, Leo threw back his drink, his face a mask of frustration. "If your parents had just approved of me, we'd be the ones getting married tomorrow. They just thought I couldn't make as much money as Ethan. I've been working my ass off. Why couldn't you just wait for me?" I felt a jolt of shock. They'd been together in high school. She never told me. "Look," Chloe said, her voice low. "It's just the three of us here, so I can be honest. Leo, you always understood me better than Ethan does, and I never completely forgot what we had. But Ethan he's so good to me, and my parents love him. So let's just forget it. After today, we're just friends." The word seemed to hit Leo like a punch. He poured himself another glass of whiskey and downed it. Lily patted his back. "I always wanted you to be my sister-in-law, Chloe, but you decided to marry Ethan. You two should probably keep your distance now. You know, to avoid any awkwardness." "Awkwardness? What awkwardness?" Leo, clearly drunk, slammed his glass on the table. "We've known each other way longer than they have. Why should we avoid each other?" Chloe's eyes flickered with pain. She asked Lily if she could step out for a minute. Lily just sighed, shook her head, and left the room. The camera shook as the door was quickly pulled shut. The screen went black, like the phone had been shoved into a pocket. 2 minutes later, the image returned, filmed through a small crack in the door. What I saw made my blood run cold. Leo had Chloe's face in his hands and was kissing her, hard and desperate. Chloe wasn't fighting him. She just stood there, letting him kiss her as a single tear rolled down her cheek, glistening in the dim light. "Leo," she murmured when they finally broke apart. "Sneaking around with you behind Ethan's back. I know it was wrong, but now I'm marrying him. After tomorrow, we can't do this anymore." Her words were cut off as he kissed her again. When they separated, her lips were swollen and red. He'd bitten her. "No, I won't accept that," he said, his voice cracking. "We love each other. Can't you just keep doing what we've been doing? Keep seeing me behind his back. Don't listen to my sister. She doesn't understand us." So it was true. They'd been cheating on me for a while. The video ended abruptly. I called Mason. He said he'd almost been caught, but managed to hide just in time. We finally had our proof. I found Dylan and showed him the video. He let out a string of curses, pacing back and forth and mutilating what was left of my mom's poor orchid. "Don't you worry," he said, his voice grim. "You know I'm a good MC. Tomorrow, I'm going to make sure their reputations are destroyed." He shot a text to the guy running the A/V setup for the reception, arranging a signal. When Dylan snapped his fingers, the video would play. But we had no idea that in the middle of the night, Mason would send something even more explosive. The new video was from the hotel's 8th floor hallway security camera, which Mason had managed to get a feed of. After their dinner, the four of them returned. Chloe went into room 801. Lily and the other bridesmaid went into 802. And Leo, to my surprise, checked in his own room, 809. Half an hour later, the door to 801 opened. Chloe, wearing a silk robe, peeked out. Clutching her phone, she looked both ways down the empty hall before scurrying to room 809 and knocking. Leo, wearing nothing but a towel, pulled her inside. Mason noted the time, 1 a.m. Then came the second video. The timestamp read 2:00 a.m. The door to 809 opened again, and Chloe hurried out, head down, looking around nervously before slipping back into her room. Dude, her hair was up when she went in, but it was down when she came out. Dylan pointed out. Not just that, Mason texted. The tie on her robe was on the left side, going in. It was on the right side, coming out. My face was a stone mask. I knew Chloe had betrayed me, but seeing it, that was different. It felt like a heavy, suffocating lump of cotton was stuck in my chest. I had loved her so much. I worked day and night, gave her every penny I made, also she could live comfortably and do whatever she wanted. And while I was pulling all-nighters at the office, she was using my money to carry on with Leo. When I was dying and needed just a fraction of that money to save my life, she took it all and bought a house with him. The rage finally ignited that lump of cotton, and my heart burned with an agonizing pain. Those shameless parasites, Dylan seethed. Ethan, you have to fire Leo tomorrow. And you have to get every cent back. The ring, the wedding money, everything. I took a deep breath, forcing myself to calm down. I told Dylan he had to find a way to get these videos on that big screen. He clapped me on the shoulder. Don't worry, I'll edit these together myself. Everyone is going to see exactly what kind of disgusting people they are. Dylan sat with me until 4 a.m. when Leo finally slunk back into the house. We played dumb, just telling him to get some sleep. After a quick breakfast, we headed out to the hotel to pick up the bride. The charter buses were already blocking the entrance. The whole town of Miller's Creek had turned out. Chloe's mom spotted me and rushed over, asking if I had the envelopes ready. Mason, grinning, pulled out a thick stack. She snatched them, rubbing them between her fingers to feel their thickness. Satisfied, her eyes crinkled into a smug smile. She had no idea that instead of the $666 she demanded for the door blockers, we'd filled them with $6.66. The spiritual advisor's $10,000 envelope contained 100 single-dollar bills. The smaller envelopes for the other guests had $5 each. For a woman like her daughter, $5 was generous. As for the bogus spiritual advisor, $100 seemed fair. If it weren't for his advice about adding Chloe's name to the deed, we probably would have already signed the marriage license. That would have been a real disaster. After the envelopes were passed through the door, it finally opened. Chloe was sitting on the edge of the bed, her heavy makeup failing to hide the dark circles under her eyes. I suppressed my disgust and followed the script Dylan, our MC, had laid out. We skipped through most of the stupid games and challenges with the groomsmen. The final step was supposed to be me putting the shoes on the bride and reciting my vows to her. There was no way in hell I could say those words. Dylan, thinking fast, glanced at his watch. Oh no, we spent too much time on the games. Let's go, let's go. Chloe didn't move. She just looked up at me, her expression wounded. She knew something was off. I'd been cold to her all morning. She was selfish and had a hair-trigger temper. If she suspected something was wrong now, she'd blow up and ruin everything. I forced a smile. Honey, I'll save those vows for tonight. I want to say them to you when it's just the two of us. The room erupted in whoops and hollers. Chloe finally smiled. She held out her arms, expecting me to carry her out. The thought of touching her made my skin crawl. I slept funny last night, I lied. My arm's asleep. I don't want to drop you. I turned around, offering her my back for a piggyback ride. Her smile vanished, but with everyone watching, she couldn't make a scene. She climbed on, fuming. After a quick stop at my parents' house for photos, we headed to the reception venue. Chloe changed into a new dress, and we stood at the entrance to greet the guests. Under the hot sun, her patience finally wore out. I haven't eaten a single thing since 5 this morning. Your mom couldn't even make me a damn egg, she hissed under her breath. And these stupid heels are killing me. I can barely stand. A wave of satisfaction washed over me, but I put on a concerned face. Oh, baby, I know. Just hang in there a little longer. This is the most important day of our lives. We wanted to be perfect. My words trapped her. She couldn't argue without looking unreasonable, which only made her angrier. Just then, Leo, who was supposed to be helping inside, came out. He stood next to me, a smug look on his face. "So, you excited, man?" he asked, his tone dripping with fake camaraderie. Chloe looked uncomfortable and shifted away slightly. I pretended not to notice, beaming. "Excited? Of course. Today is going to be the most memorable day of my life." "You have no idea," I thought. "Your little world is about to end." A flicker of hatred crossed Leo's face before he replaced it with a smile. "Well, Ethan, you're a lucky guy, marrying a woman as beautiful and smart as Chloe. I wish you two a lifetime of happiness." Then, right in front of me, he pulled her into a big hug. It looked like a normal, friendly gesture, except for the part where his hand snaked down and gave her but a little squeeze. Chloe almost gasped, a faint blush creeping up her neck. She shot him a look that was a mixture of annoyance and nervous excitement. I acted like I hadn't seen a thing, just fiddling with my phone. On WhatsApp, Mason was losing his mind. "Just hold on a little longer," he typed. "I just got his parents here. I promise. Leo's about to find out what happens when you betray your friends." Last night, we decided that just showing the video to Chloe's friends and family wasn't enough. For maximum impact, Leo's family had to be there too. Mason had called them, saying Leo had a special performance planned for the wedding and wanted to surprise them by having them in the audience. They'd been thrilled. Who would turn down a free meal and a show? Soon, the wedding began. Elegant music filled the air, and crystal chandeliers cast a warm glow over the ballroom, which was filled with champagne-colored roses. It was a romantic, dreamlike setting. I stood on the stage, my face a blank mask, as Dylan began his opening speech. After a few pleasantries, his voice boomed. "And now, let's welcome our beautiful bride." The ballroom doors swung open, and Chloe appeared, a vision in a white wedding gown. Her father took her arm and walked her down the aisle. He placed her hand in mine and solemnly told me to take good care of his daughter. The music swelled, making the moment feel even more emotional. The second her father let go of her hand, Chloe started to cry, her shoulders shaking. In the audience, people were dabbing their eyes. "Oh, you're crying now," I thought. "Just wait. You'll have plenty more to cry about soon." As Chloe's dad was about to step off the stage, Dylan grabbed his arm. "Sir, don't go just yet. Say a few words to everyone." Her dad took the mic and launched into a speech, thanking the guests. When he finished, Dylan asked him if he had any special words for his daughter. He turned to Chloe, his face a caricature of fatherly wisdom. "From this day on, you are part of the Thompson family. You must respect your in-laws, take care of your husband, and be a virtuous, good wife. Don't forget the lessons I've taught you. Be an upstanding person." Chloe nodded tearfully through his lecture. Dylan cut in with a smile. "Wow, sir, it sounds like you run a tight ship at home." Her dad puffed out his chest. "You bet. We raised our Chloe right. I can't speak for everything, but her character, it's top-notch." He gave an exaggerated thumbs up, wiggling it for effect. The crowd chuckled. Dylan and I laughed loudest of all. It was taking every ounce of my self-control not to lose it. "You must be very proud today, sir," Dylan said. "Of course. We raised a real treasure. Any man who marries her is a lucky man." My smile vanished. What a joke. "You want this luck? You can have it." Chloe, amused by her father's theatrics, had stopped crying and was now smiling. "Go ahead and smile," I thought. "It won't last long." Dylan snapped his fingers. Suddenly, the stage lights went out. Then, one by one, all the lights in the ballroom blinked off, plunging the room into darkness. The guests gasped in confusion. The only thing still lit was the giant projection screen behind us. Then, someone pointed and screamed. We all turned. There on the screen was the highlight reel Dylan had edited overnight. The first scene, the restaurant. Chloe, Leo, and Lily toasting. Who would have thought my high school boyfriend would end up being my fiancé's best friend? Chloe's voice echoed through the silent room. Then Leo's angry retort. If your parents had just approved of me, we'd be the ones getting married tomorrow. Then Chloe's confession. Leo, you always understood me better. After today, we're just friends. A line of text appeared on the screen. I asked this what just friends looks like. The scene cut to them kissing, his hands on her face, her single tear falling. Then, her voice again. Leo, sneaking around with you behind Ethan's back. I know it was wrong. And his desperate plea. We love each other. Can't you just keep seeing me behind his back? The room erupted in shocked whispers. Another line of text. Turns out they've been cheating on the groom for a while. The scene changed to the dimly lit hotel hallway. The timestamp read 1:00 a.m. Chloe, in her silk robe, hair pinned up, sneaking into Leo's room. Leo, wearing only a towel, pulling her in. Just friends, do this at 1 in the morning. The timestamp jumped to 2:00 a.m. Chloe, hair down, scurrying back to her room. The screen split, showing a side-by-side comparison of her going in and coming out. 4 red circles highlighted her disheveled hair and the retied belt of her robe. A man and a woman, alone in a hotel room for an hour. Any guesses what happened? The entire ballroom was in an uproar. Beautiful bride, would you care to explain? The lights flashed back on, illuminating Chloe's ghost-white face, and my own, which I'd contorted into a mask of shock and disbelief. Every eye in the room was on us, filled with pity for me. I glanced at my parents. They looked horrified, their mouths hanging open. I gave him a slight shake of my head, trying to signal that I was okay. I turned to Chloe's father. "Sir, is this your idea of a daughter with top-notch character?" My voice dripped with sarcasm. "Because it seems to me that whoever marries her isn't lucky. They're cursed." He dropped the act, his face twisting in rage. "Look what you've done," he snarled, turning and slapping Chloe hard across the face. But Chloe didn't even seem to feel it. She was staring at the screen, which was now replaying the videos on a loop. Guests everywhere had their phones out, recording. Turn it off now," she shrieked. Then she rounded on me. "Ethan, aren't you afraid of being humiliated?" I laughed. "The one who cheated was you. The one who betrayed me was you. I didn't do anything wrong. What do I have to be afraid of? The only thing I'm afraid of is that there's someone in this room who doesn't know what kind of trash you two are. I was blind to ever love a woman like you." I roared, turning my fury on Leo, who was trying to shrink into the shadows at the back of the room. "And I was an idiot to ever call a backstabbing piece of garbage like you my friend. I gave you a job, and this is how you repay me, by screwing my fiancé." Down in the crowd, Chloe's mom clutched her chest and collapsed, feigning a heart attack. She was perfectly healthy. It was an impressive performance. "Ma'am," I said into the mic, my voice dripping with false concern. "I know you're upset, but try not to rush things. The show's not over yet. Let's welcome our other star to the stage." With a dramatic flourish of music, my friends grabbed the struggling Leo and dragged him onto the stage, dumping him on the floor like a sack of garbage. Chloe's father, finally snapping, lunged at him, kicking and punching. "You little bastard! I told you to stay away from my daughter." Leo, furious and humiliated, scrambled to his feet and shoved the older man hard. "If you hadn't stood in our way, none of this would have happened. You're the one to blame, selling your daughter to the highest bidder. You make me sick." Chloe's mom might not have had a heart condition, but her husband did. The shove and the verbal assault were too much. He gasped, clutching his chest, and crumpled to the ground. I calmly dialed 911. "With all these witnesses," I said to Leo with a thin smile, "you'd better pray he's okay. Otherwise, you're going to prison for a long, long time, you moron." Leo's face went pale with terror. Chloe started clawing at his shirt, screaming, "What did you do to my father? You worthless brat, I'm going to kill you today." From the audience, Leo's father charged the stage, grabbing a wine bottle and smashing it over his son's back. His mother followed, weeping and pounding on Leo's shoulders. "You've shamed us. Our family is ruined." The stage was chaos. Chloe's father lay motionless on the floor, while her mother, abandoning her fake heart attack, crawled over and frantically shoved pills into his mouth. Just then, Mason and the groomsmen arrived with a case of beer. I grabbed a bottle, held it high, and yelled, "Thank you all for witnessing the union of my lovely bride and her adulterous lover. May they be shackled together for eternity." All my friends raised their bottles and roared, "Forever! May Leo be sterile." I shouted, "May Leo be sterile." They echoed, "May all your children be someone else's." I screamed, the most vicious curse I could think of. "May all your children be someone else's." The energy was electric. A bitch and a dog. A match made in heaven. With that, I poured the entire bottle of beer over Chloe's head. "Ethan, no, don't," she shrieked. I smashed the empty bottle on the floor. "Don't you ever call me that again, you disgusting pig." Mason, grinning wickedly, did the same to Leo. Leo spat, wiping the liquid from his face. Then he sniffed. His expression changed from defiance to horror. "What the hell is this?" he gagged, starting to retch. "What did you put in this bottle?" Mason kicked him squarely in the ribs. "That's Grandpa's special golden brew, fresh from last night. How's it taste? Sweet, right? I ate a whole bag of lollipops yesterday, just for you." He'd been trying to quit smoking, and the stress of last night had him mainlining sugar instead of nicotine. He joked that if he was going to get diabetes, he might as well make Leo drink the evidence. My friends howled with laughter. I quieted them down and addressed the guests. "Thank you all for your applause and encouragement today. Your gifts will be fully refunded. Please enjoy the food and the show as you witness the official cancellation of this wedding." The crowd cheered, and people started eating. I walked over to where Chloe's mom was helping her husband up and started settling accounts. The 30,000 yuan spent on the wedding, the 10,000 yuan in various cash gifts, plus the over 10,000 yuan I've spent on presents for your family over the past 2 years. Let's consider that as a loss. It's like I'm feeding it to the dogs. I'll cover the venue rental. Consider my treat for today's entertainment. You only owe me the 35,000 yuan for the deposits and the ring. That's all. The thought of losing that much money sent Chloe's father into another rage. "You shameless little tramp," he screamed at his daughter, slapping her again and again. Her mom started wailing. "That 10,000 for the advisor, and the money you gave everyone today, you want that back too? You're so petty." That got the attention of the guests. "What? My envelope only had $50 in it," one guy yelled. "Mine had 5, shouted another. The so-called spiritual advisor stood up, spitting with fury. 10,000? It was $100. I feigned shock. "Ma'am, you personally inspected every single envelope this morning. Don't tell me you switched them out afterward." The accusation hung in the air. Everyone turned to stare at her, disgust on their faces. Her arch-nemesis, Mrs. Peterson, cackled with delight. "Well, I'll be trying to skim a little off the top on your own daughter's wedding day. Good thing the young man is sharp, or he'd be taking the blame for your cheap stunt." The crowd murmured in agreement, telling her to give the money back. "No, I didn't." "He's lying," she stammered, but no one believed her. Her family's reputation preceded them. "That explains why she was feeling up my envelope this morning and smirking," someone yelled. "Her daughter's a cheater, and she's a thief. What a family." Cornered, Chloe's mom pointed a trembling finger at Leo. "It was all his fault. He seduced my daughter." In one sentence, she tried to frame the whole thing as Leo's crime. She lunged at him, grabbing a bottle to hit him. Leo, still smelling foul and reeling from the chaos, dodged her attack. "I seduced her. We're in love. If it wasn't for you two greedy old parasites trying to sell her off, we would have been happy." Mrs. Peterson, munching on peanuts, yelled from her table. "That's right. It takes two to tango. You're just as much to blame, you money-grubbing old crow." That was the last straw. Chloe's mom, forgetting all about the stench, flew at Leo, scratching at his face. He screamed as her nails raked his cheek, and his sanity finally snapped. He grabbed her by the hair and started slapping her. Chloe and her father rushed in to break it up. Her dad, frail as he was, started kicking and punching. Leo, lost in a blind rage, threw them both off. Chloe's mom screamed for help. Her dad, seeing no other way, grabbed a bottle and smashed it over the back of Leo's head. Crack! Leo roared in pain, blood pouring through his fingers. That was it. The last thread of his reason was gone. He turned, his eyes bloodshot, and grabbed a bottle, then another, and another, smashing them over Chloe's father's head. Chloe screamed his name, trying to pull him off, but he shoved her to the ground. Her father's heart condition was real. He couldn't take that kind of beating. After a few blows, he collapsed, convulsing, but Leo didn't stop. Seeing her father being beaten to death, Chloe scrambled to her feet, grabbed a jagged piece of a broken bottle, and lunged, plunging it deep into Leo's neck. Leo gasped, clutching the gushing wound, and fell to the floor. It happened so fast. The room filled with screams as people frantically called the police. The paramedics I had called earlier arrived just then, loading both men onto stretchers. We all ended up at the police station as witnesses. Chloe's father didn't make it. He was pronounced dead on arrival. With dozens of videos from the guests, the case was open and shut. He was killed by Leo. The suspect, however, had bled out in the hospital shortly after arriving. The main artery in his neck had been severed. The person who killed him was Chloe. But because she had been acting to save her father's life, the district attorney declined to press charges, ruling it justifiable homicide. Her mother still refused to pay me back, so I sued them. With no marriage license, the judge ordered them to return the money immediately or face fraud charges. The car they'd bought with the cash was gone, sold a loss to pay me back. I heard Chloe's father's funeral was a pathetic affair. No one wanted anything to do with their family now. Their reputation was ruined. None of us went to Leo's funeral. His parents were devastated. I knew this wasn't their fault, and thinking of my own parents' grief in my past life, I had Mason take the money I'd recovered and give it to them. It wasn't much, but it was something. I was surprised when Leo's father accepted it calmly. He didn't say a single hateful word about me. He even told Mason to pass on his apologies, an apology from a father for his son. It was a stark reminder that the sins of the son are not always the sins of the father. I thought that was the end of it, but then I heard the news. After making sure his wife was taken care of, Leo's father went to find Chloe. He took a knife with him. He found her, and without a word, he slit her throat. Then he slit his own. They were both dead by the time help arrived. The cause of death was the same as his son's, a severed carotid artery. Chloe's mother, who witnessed the whole thing, called for help, but it was too late. I felt a pang of regret for Leo's father. But then I thought, to see your own son die like that, no matter what he did, could you ever really forgive the one who killed him? I'm not a father. Maybe one day I'll understand. After witnessing the violent deaths of her husband and daughter, Chloe's mother lost her mind. They said she lived on the streets, fighting with stray dogs for scraps of food. Occasionally, a kind soul would leave something for her, but soon, even they stayed away. She had started carrying sharp objects, swinging them at anyone who came near. No one dared to help her after that. When winter came, she didn't know enough to find shelter or wear warmer clothes. They found her frozen to death under a large oak tree at the edge of town. And so, my revenge was complete. But I didn't feel the relief I expected. Why is true devotion so often met with betrayal? If in that other life, Chloe had just chosen to be with me, to be true to me, would any of this have happened? I looked at the smiling face on her tombstone and silently placed a bouquet of sunflowers at its base. If there's a next life, I murmured, try not to betray a heart that loves you. I turned and walked away, chasing the setting sun down the hill.